Hello, Norfolk members. I want to reach out to you and I want to talk fuel with you for just a little bit here. I want to talk power bills and what's happened through the summer and where we are now. So natural gas basically started to march higher back at the first of the year. We were in the $3 range, $3.50, quickly got to $4, and then by middle of May, 1st of June, we reached the $9 range. And so we saw some higher prices at that time, and the fuel is all handled through what we call our PCA. That's one of our adjustments on your power bill. And so our PCA started going higher around in May and June. And it has stayed in the level of anywhere from 1 cent to 2 cents per kilowatt hour during this time frame. And so at that same time as it was marching higher and we were going into summertime, the board basically tried to figure out a way that we could offset that cost to you. And so we also have a factor on your bill called the margin factor. And so it's where we can offset our margins, or we can add to our margins. And so we went to a negative margin factor at that time. And so we've had a negative 1 cent margin factor, if you will, for the last 2 months, and you're going to see it again in August. So for 3 months, you've basically got a 1 cent per kilowatt hour discount from our margins. And so what happens at Norfolk when we give a 1 cent discount, then we basically make less margins. And so when we make less margins, then that means that we have to do less here at the co-op. So we're nonprofit, and so we're not trying to make a big profit here. And so when we felt it was important with these higher gas prices to give some of that back. And so we've had to slow down things like right-of-way cutting, maybe some of our improvements, some of our maintenance, but it was important to us through these high fuel prices to be able to give some of that back. In July, we saw natural gas prices start basically coming down, and we felt really good about it. The other thing that happened in July was we saw big usage, and so the PCA got just a little bit smaller because natural gas came down. Western Farmers, where we buy our power, was also using a lot of hydropower during that month, which is cheaper, and we were still using quite a little bit of wind power during that month, which is also cheaper. So it came down into the $5 range, and basically since the end of July to now the end of August, it has just made a complete turnaround, and we're right back at the $9 range. And so what we're going to see going forward here is PCA, which is where we handle our fuel costs, is getting ready to go up. It's going to go back up into where we were in May and June. The other problem is hydropower, the eastern side of Oklahoma, the lake levels have gotten back to normal and maybe even a little below normal, and so hydropower is not a good option right now. It's not available. And then the wind hasn't been blowing. You've experienced that. We've had really calm days, and so we haven't had a whole lot of wind. And so we've taken out our two cheapest options as far as cost of power. And so natural gas prices have increased, and we've lost two of our cheaper generation sources. So the PCA is going to increase because we're using natural gas to generate the power, and it's gone up at the same time. So I wanted to reach out to you and just let you know that your consumption of power is going to go down. We've had some cooler temperatures, which is a really good thing. And so we haven't had the heat that we saw in July. So as far as how much power you are using is going to go down, but the fuel cost is going to go up at the same time. And so your total dollar amounts is probably going to stay somewhat steady. And I don't know what natural gas is going to do going into the fall. We can expect wind to increase going into the fall, which will cheapen up some of that power going into the fall. But it's going to be day by day with these high natural gas prices. And so just look at your bill and know that we are giving a credit back. We're going to continue to do that here for at least another month. We're going to do that as long as we feel like we can without causing any problems here at the co-op. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Don't see bills getting higher, but it's going to be less consumption and higher fuel. So rest assured that we're going to stay on top of it here and make sure that we're doing our part, and just hope that natural gas prices don't get completely out of control here. So I hope the rest of your day is good. Thank you.